Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing good today. So, let's talk about something that's been stirring up some excitement in the Dying Light community, the Beast Update, version 1.2.5. This update might not sound massive on paper, but trust me, there's a lot going on underneath the surface that's worth talking about. Techland has been pushing out consistent improvements, and this one feels like it's setting the stage for something bigger. I've been checking through everything they've released, reading the patch details, seeing how the community's responding, and it's actually pretty interesting how they're handling this phase of the Beast season. So, first off, if you've been keeping up with Dying Light lately, you'll know the Call of the Beast event kicked off right alongside this update. That's part of a brand new 11-week plan Techland is rolling out. It's basically their new roadmap designed to keep players engaged with themed events, challenges, and rewards that'll keep the game feeling fresh through the season. And this first week, called A Season to Dismember, is already setting the tone perfectly. Yeah, you can tell by the name that we're chopping some limbs. That's the whole point of this week's community challenge. The goal is to collectively cut off millions of limbs, 30 million to unlock one reward, and 60 million to grab the second one. You can practically feel Techland nudging players to have some chaotic fun with melee combat, and it totally fits the style of this game. But let's pull it back a bit and talk about the update itself, version 1.2.5. Like I said, this patch isn't about huge, flashy new content. Instead, it's about polishing things up. Stability, performance improvements, crash fixes, and some general tweaks that make the gameplay smoother overall. And honestly, that's exactly what the game needs right now. If you've played a lot of Dying Light recently, you'll know that performance can vary a bit depending on your platform. PC players, for example, have had moments of inconsistent frame rates, and console players have seen some strange stutters or crashes in certain areas. This patch aims to level that out so that everyone's getting a more consistent experience, especially as more seasonal content gets added. Techland has been doing this pretty methodically. If you think back to the last couple of smaller updates like 1.2.3 and 1.2.4, they were working through a pattern, fixing co-op sync issues, quest progression bugs, and improving overall polish. So this one continues that same pattern. It's like they're laying down layers of stability before they drop something major. I kind of appreciate that approach because it means when the bigger updates or events roll out later in the season, they'll hopefully be running smoother. Now let's talk about timing because this part always gets confusing. The Beast update and the Call of the Beast event went live on October 16th, 2025. If you're in India, that means the event actually kicked off at 7:30 p.m. IST, and it'll run until October 23rd at the same time. It's a full week of gameplay challenges, and everything you do contributes to the global community goal. That's right. It's not just your own prize that counts. Everyone around the world is hacking away at infected limbs together, and the total number goes up collectively. Once that 30 million mark is reached, everyone who participated gets the first reward, which is the Lumberjack car skin. And if we hit 60 million, which honestly the community probably will because people love these challenges, then you get the Woodchopper axe. Both of these are themed perfectly for the season, and they kind of capture that brutal, gritty survival tone that Dying Light is known for. The community aspect is what really makes this update fun, even though it's not introducing massive gameplay overhauls. These shared goals always bring players back together. You'll start seeing a bunch of people jumping back into the game, maybe players who haven't touched it in a while, all joining in to help hit those numbers. It kind of creates this short-lived surge of activity, and that's exactly what these seasonal events are designed to do. You hop in, you feel like you're part of something, and you walk away with a cool item to show for it. Now, performance-wise, after the update rolled out, a lot of players have been saying that the game feels smoother, especially on consoles. Some minor hitches that used to happen during co-op sessions or heavy combat moments seem to be reduced. And even though Techland didn't list every single change in the patch notes, players have noticed better responsiveness when switching weapons and smoother transitions when parkouring through dense environments. It might not sound like much, but if you've spent hours in this game, you know how even small performance tweaks can make a big difference to the flow. Something else worth mentioning is how Techland is balancing its focus right now. They've been teasing that the Beast season is just the beginning of this long-term post-launch phase, which means they're likely saving some of the bigger content drops for later in this roadmap. This first event is more like an opening act. It's there to get everyone re-engaged, to test how stable the systems are under heavier player loads, and to make sure everything's working properly before they scale up with more demanding content. You can kind of tell that they're carefully testing their infrastructure while keeping players entertained in the process. And speaking of the roadmap, Those 11 weeks sound promising. While not every week's details are out yet, the idea is to roll out themed challenges and new community events regularly. If you think about how games like this tend to structure their content, it's likely that each week will either introduce a different gameplay twist or a new reward type to chase. That keeps the loop fresh and gives players a reason to keep checking back. The Beast update, then, feels like the start of a bigger rhythm, weekly bursts of activity and steady technical improvements underneath. One of the coolest things about Techland is how they still support their games years after release. You've probably seen how long they stuck with the first Dying Light. They were releasing new content almost 5 years after launch. So it's safe to assume that the Beast season is part of that same long game mentality. They're not rushing new expansions out the door. They're focusing on giving the game a strong, reliable base. And once that's locked in, we'll probably see bigger narrative or gameplay expansions follow up. This update is like tightening all the bolts before hitting full throttle. For anyone jumping back into the game right now, here's what you can expect from the experience after updating. You'll notice the load times are a bit cleaner, fewer random crashes, and a smoother transition when you're fast traveling or switching between areas. Combat feels slightly snappier too. It's subtle, but you can feel it when you're mid-fight. It's that kind of less laggy, more flowy experience that just makes the whole thing feel more polished. I've also noticed that co-op players are reporting fewer desync issues, which is great because this game really shines when you play with friends. Nothing kills that energy faster than bugs that throw you out of sync mid-fight. Now, about the event itself, I've got to say A Season to Dismember challenge is such a perfect idea. Dying Light's melee combat has always been one of its strongest features, and focusing on limb dismemberment as the central theme is both fun and brutal. It's such a Dying Light thing to do. You can use all sorts of weapons, machetes, axes, blades, and every single one contributes to the global limb counter. You'll probably see people experimenting with different builds or weapon mods just to rack up dismemberments faster. It's almost like the event gives players an excuse to go wild again, to just unleash chaos in the streets of Villador without worrying about objectives or storylines. It's also a nice touch that the rewards are tied directly to the theme. The Lumberjack car skin is a fun cosmetic nod that matches the whole woodcutting vibe, and the Woodchopper axe is both symbolic and functional. Even if you're someone who's more about story content, you've got to admit, those are rewards that fit perfectly with this event's spirit. Something else that's easy to overlook is how this kind of event helps bring new players into the fold. Whenever a new challenge like this launches, the player base spikes, and that means fresh faces jumping into the game world. Veterans get a livelier community to play with, and newcomers get to experience that sense of global collaboration right off the bat. It's a win-win situation. And honestly, this kind of steady seasonal rhythm is exactly what keeps a game like Dying Light feeling alive between the big updates. Instead of going months without anything new, you've got these constant waves of reasons to log in. Even if you don't play every week, you might see an event that catches your attention and hop back in for a few days. That's smart design, and Techland knows how to keep that momentum going. I also want to point out that Techland's communication has improved a lot lately. They've been sharing clearer timelines, teasing upcoming events earlier, and responding to community feedback about performance issues faster than before.